It's one of the most ignored appliances in your home. When it breaks, it can cost thousands of dollars in damage. Today we're going to talk about water heaters, coming up now on the Arizona Report. Thank you for joining us. My name is David Meek. I'm a licensed Arizona real estate broker, and we're going to talk about water heaters today. Water heaters are critical to the normal functioning of our homes: hot showers, sparkling dishes, warm baths. But when they break, they can be bad news, and they will give you signs that they're in trouble. If you are paying attention, they can speak to you. Today in the studio, we have Dr. Dan Hayden, and you might recognize him from episode 1. Dan was here to talk about the process of home inspections. Well, he's back today in episode 8 called Don't Let Your Water Heater Get You into Hot Water. Dan, welcome back to the Arizona Report.
Okay, this is going to be a soggy episode.
Well, we're going to dive into the water here.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Let's just hope we don't end up with a 4-letter word because of it.
That's right.
Mold. If they leak.
M-O-L-D.
Yeah, 4-letter word that costs you lots of money.
And you would think here in Arizona, we don't have much of a mold problem, but it's here.
We actually have a little bit worse because the homes are tighter. Because we try to keep the air conditioning in, the houses don't breathe as well.
That's a good point.
And therefore, the water doesn't wick out and moisture doesn't evaporate as quickly.
That's true. So it is here. We've got mold. Water heaters. This is one of my favorite topics. Of the home inspection reports that I've seen, I would venture a guess to say 90% have an issue regarding the water heater.
It's going to be something.
Almost always something with the water heater. So what different types of water heaters are there?
Gas, electric, solar, geothermal.
Yes, geothermal. That's one that was completely off my radar. That's right. For the purposes of focusing on the bulk of the water heaters out there, we probably should talk about gas and electric.
Gas and electric are the common.
We see those 97% of the time.
Right.
So, what type do you have in your home?
I have a gas.
Okay.
And I have it in an enclosure. Since I did do the office man room, so it had to be closed away so I could keep the gases away from me.
Yes.
And make it safe.
That's one of the things I want to get through to listeners here today is go outside in your garage or in your utility room, take a look at your water heater, because there are conditions which could really truthfully put your family at risk.
Exactly.
These are gas appliances or 240 volt electric water heaters. So we need to take those seriously. We need to think about things like uncovered wires, lack of ventilation, rusting.
Exactly. And some of the thought processes that haven't gone through is everybody kind of gets having the high-low vent in the garage or the area that it's in. But if you're parking a vehicle in it and it's got an electric one, people don't think it's necessary, but continue the thought process with our hybrid cars that have large pallets of batteries in them. When batteries are charging, what happens? It emits hydrogen.
Yes.
It's a combustible thing. And if that electric element and the hydrogen build up well enough, you have a house renovation.
30% of home fires start in the garage.
That's right. Because
you have so much out there in the garage is combustible. You've got lawnmowers, gas cans, oily rags, and all that, is hovering near the floor. I think that's why a lot of times in newer homes, you'll see the gas water heater elevated.
That elevation of gas water heater for 18 inches has been in the standard for at least 84.
Okay.
At least 84.
And that's the reason is you don't want to have a gas flame near the floor in a garage where there are combustibles.
A combustible energy source.
Okay.
That's how it is now. It's not a gas flame, it's a combustible energy source that will ignite vapors in the garage.
I see.
That's why the electric water heater needs to be 18 inches up also.
So not only gas, but electric water heaters in a garage environment must be elevated off the floor by 18 inches.
And then, of course, our catch pan that's never there. Because if it leaks and then it's attached to an interior wall, you want that catch pan to be able to protect the interior of the house from leaking.
So if a water heater is on a garage wall next to a livable area, it has to be in a catch pan to take that water in an emergency and take it outside.
Elsewhere. That's right.
How can you tell the age of a water heater, Dan, if you have I'm thinking of the one in my my garage. I've looked for a manufacturer date before on the unit, but
It was so deteriorated you couldn't read it.
That's right.
It's about ready.
What's the life expectancy of a
10 to 12
gas?
years.
Gas water heater's 10 to 12 years.
Gas or electric, because of our extremely hard water here.
Hard water in Arizona. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm gonna write. Speaking of hard water,
there you go.
I wanted to share a poem with you that I wrote last night about water heaters. You'll love this. Oh, quiet sentinel standing guard in a dark corner of the garage, watchful defender against cold water. Ping, pop. Family members keep their schedules without giving you a parting glance. A fine layer of dust shrouds your top, testament to years of silent service. Hard Arizona water brings sediment to your tank. No matter, you are still youthful. Gurgle, gurgle, pop. The rusty ring, that's a badge of honor. 2 tours of duty, McMillan's and the Johnsons. Your eternal flame below still burns like the Olympic torch. Gurgle. Ping, pop, ping, drip, drip. You stand proud. It takes a little longer to reach temperature after 10 years. Drip, drip, ping. Now the Johnsons surround you, scratching their heads. The man with the clipboard scribbles furiously. $800. Hesitation. Deep breath. Yes, it's time. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ode to a Water Heater by David Meek. So we're talking about water heaters in the garage. They need to be elevated. Looking at the water heater, what are some of the components? There's a lot of pipes and cords coming in and out of a water heater. What do we need to be aware of as homeowners and home buyers?
Okay, it breaks down very simply. You have the tank, which would be like your vessel, and then you have water in, water out. Cold water coming in, goes in, either goes by the electric coil area or where the heat pan is for the flame to warm up the water. And as the water pressure in the house naturally pushes the water up and out of the unit, it goes outside the other hose that you see at the top for your hot water in the house. Now, the incoming hose should have a valve on it.
So the cold water line into a water heater, whether gas or electric, there needs to be a shut-off,
yes,
so that you can repair it. And,
that's right.
And a lot of times you don't see that when you're inspecting homes.
Yeah.
What are some other things that you don't see that should be there on a gas or electric water heater?
It should be level, not leaning against the wall.
That sounds dangerous.
It's interesting. One of the best ones was I walked into the hallway of a house, and it was leaning out of the closet and looking out at me in the hallway, hanging by the pipes.
Leaning out of the closet.
Yes, because they'd put it on a milk crate, and the milk crate finally crumpled, and it was sitting there, saying, "Hi, I'm here."
And when it's full of water, that's 40 or 50 gallons worth of water. Those water heaters probably weigh maybe 500 pounds.
Boy, it's a heck of a connection that guy put on that thing to hang in there.
Yeah. Wow. Man, oh, man. Water heater thermal blanket wraps. My dear sweet fiance has one on her gas water heater in a closet.
It's old. It needs a coat. Yeah.
It kind of concerns me. Are those, sometimes in Arizona, do I need a thermal blanket wrap on my water heater?
Most of the time not, because of our extreme warm environment. In fact, some manufacturers for Arizona water heaters here in the valley say that's not a good idea because of the heat in the garages and overheating the water heater. That'll keep it too wrapped. But up in Flagstaff, yes. It's a definite yes in Flagstaff. In other parts of the country,
depends on climate.
It depends on climate and the manufacturer's booklet. Be sure you read that thoroughly. I know it's boring, but check to see if they invalidate the warranty for having a wrap.
You got it. You hit the nail on the head. I was just going to say that I've heard that a thermal blanket wrap installed on your hot water heater, your water heater, may invalidate that unit's warranty.
Exactly.
Oh man. Okay. Maintenance on a gas or electric water heater. Can I just ignore it for 10 to 12 years?
No, if you are handy and you know how to handle this, you turn the power on the gas source off, and what you do is you close the cold water side, You hook up a hose to the exterior of the street or something and open up that valve with a handle on the bottom of the water heater and drain the water heater. And for us in Arizona, you have a high likelihood of having all sorts of white rocks, roll out and stuff like that.
That's the sediment that pings in the pan.
Pings and builds up, yeah. But if you open that thing up and nothing comes out, that means that orifice is completely occluded and will not flow, and you've got some major problems.
The clock is ticking on your
That's
replacement. Right. The TPR valve. What is the TPR valve?
Temperature, pressure, and relief.
Okay.
That's actually 3 terms in one. It's the temperature. It's temperature monitor,
okay.
And it will release when the pressure is over. It's just called the 210. When it's over 210 cubes per foot inside the water heater, and it will start releasing water. It'll start dripping.
So this is the device. It's usually maybe bronze. It's on the side or the top of the unit.
Brass. Yeah.
And it's in an emergency. If there's too much pressure in the tank, it'll open up.
That's right.
Okay.
Or start dripping. Most of the time, it's an insidious little drip that comes through the ring that the corrosion inside the unit has eaten away at that O-ring at the top.
So rust is a sign.
Mm-hmm.
Take rust on a water heater
seriously.
Very, very seriously.
Because there should be nothing dripping or leaking inside that unit.
Nothing to cause that rust unless water's coming out of it.
Because that means there's a thing called a sacrifice anode that I know plumbers that own homes that pull those out and change them themselves. Not a handyman thing.
The sacrificial anode rod goes down inside the tank and
to help collect all of the minerals that will harm the tank heating sections.
Okay.
Whether it be the electric portion or the pan for where the water is heated up for the gas water heater.
So that sacrificial anode rod inside the water heater can be replaced. The minerals in the water that would generally eat the pipes in the home instead attack the pipe. You can replace the pipe very inexpensively, but it's going to save
you
years of having to replace pipes inside the home because of the hard water in Arizona.
And that's part of the maintenance. Is if you have a reliable plumber that can pull that anode and swap it out for you at about 4 to 5 years, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then not just every year, but at least every other year, do the clean out, do the flush of the tank. And then there's one other thing when tanks stink. You went off to vacation and the water sat. And you get that sulfur, that nasty fishy smell that comes out of the water.
When I open the
cold water
at
side.
the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the hot water side, and there's a stink coming out.
Here's another sign besides the odor is if you have rusty water coming out of the hot side of a faucet, not the cold side, but just the hot side, that could be rust from the tank, and the clock might be ticking on your unit if you see that.
That's right.
So,
and one of the other things to do is if you're gone for quite a few weeks, run your hot water for at least a minute or two, because you'll hear it sounds like air coming out. What that is a buildup of hydrogen, because that splits and separates inside the tank. And you don't have air, you have hydrogen.
And that's the hissing sound.
Out. Yeah.
Okay.
And I know a fellow inspector that didn't heed my words, that he knew it was a vacant house and didn't run the hot water for a little bit before turning on the water heater, and the dishwasher blew itself out of the cabinet.
So, oh man. So you need to bleed.
He called me and says, "Dad, what do I do?" And I said, "Call your insurance company."
So you need to bleed the air, bleed the hydrogen out if a home has been sitting vacant for a while.
Yeah, and
all the pipes. Just let the water run. You're priming the pipes again.
That's right.
Okay.
And if it stinks, it takes about 4 ounces for a water heater, and per 20 gallons of hydrogen peroxide to pour it into the tank to help clear that smell out of the tank.
Sounds like a dangerous situation. So,
in other words, if it stinks like that, get a hold of a plumber.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to have somebody just opening that stuff up, and then you'll have a fountain in the garage because you tried to open up the wrong side of the water heater to put things in and all that stuff.
Yeah.
See, because if you have that stink, you're going to go ahead and go for that anode to pour it in where the anode is, and then put the new anode in and let it correct itself.
That makes sense. And if another point too is if you go on vacation, turn your gas water heater down
to vacation,
because if if the house is vacant for 3 or 4 weeks, 2 weeks, and you're out of town.
It's like some of our snowbirds. They have people to come over and run it for them.
Sure. There are services here in the valley that take care of that. Talk to me about some of the other issues on water heaters that you see in inspections. To me, gas water heaters are the most interesting. Vent pipes.
Oh, yes.
What kinds of problems do you see with vent pipes?
Well, see, we have vent pipes that are designed, it's called single wall, that will virtually have the same temperature that's coming out of the flue gases that are coming out of the water heater. They can get up to 1,200 or better degrees. It can actually scorch and start fires if not attended to, or it doesn't have the proper clearance. Now, a B vent only needs about 1 inch of clearance between drywall. Why am I concerned about drywall? Because there's paper on the back of it. Paper burns.
Add heat to paper, paper burns.
Flash point will be met.
Fires start.
And then you have nice ground up cellulose insulations, ground up newspaper. It's not fireproof; it's fire retardant.
In the
and
attic.
they put it right there on top of the flue.
Yeah.
I've actually pulled some back and taken pictures of it being brown and black.
Wow. Speaking of brown and black, if you see a browning right above the firebox on a gas water heater,
oh yeah, you've got a rollout problem.
Rollout, backdraft, the flames coming out, which means there's maybe an obstruction further up the vent pipe. You can even take a mirror and put it next to the firebox, and if the mirror fogs up a little bit, you've got a backdrafting
You've got a live
issue.
one.
Yeah. So dangerous.
The other thing is the moisture that rolls out of these things. You've got to remember the gas is 80% moisture or water until it hits our meters. Then it separates out and becomes just, gas. And if you smell that rotten eggs or that mercaptan smell,
Okay.
and we've had one like that,
Yes.
where we walked around the side of the house and went, no, that wasn't me. Was that you, David?
There was gas coming out of that meter.
Yeah.
And you had to stop the inspection.
Everybody out of the house.
Everybody out of the house. You immediately got on the phone to the gas company. They were there in maybe 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. Shut the operation down, fixed the leak on the gas meter, and put the homeowner back in operation. But yeah, the meter can leak. The hot water heaters, the
connections can leak. That's one of the things. Use your nose, use your eyes, pay attention to that little, to that ignored item in the corner, because it's doing a lot of interesting work, because it takes your water. And here in Arizona, there's a differential between our water on the street coming out in summertime versus wintertime.
Differential in temperature?
In temperature, because in the wintertime, we'll have about 70, 50 or so degree water. In summertime, it'll get up to 98 degrees. I did an inspection just 2 days ago. It was at 98 degrees coming in off the street.
Hey, it makes it easy for the water heater.
And your gas bill is lower, but it does cause a churning inside the water heater for warm water to be added to warm water. And then it's sitting there going on, off, on, off.
Cycling.
Faster because it's warmer.
I followed you to a home inspection about a week ago, and we were standing in a porch conversion room. I think you remember this inspection.
Oh, yeah.
Standing in a converted porch room. The water heater was in this room. The room was uninsulated. There was no air ventilation from the outside coming into that room.
No fresh air for that unit.
No fresh air. I reached up and put my hand on the vent pipe. Jiggle, jiggle, wiggle. It was loose. The vent pipe was not screwed down.
It was, was not. The hood wasn't secured. The flue wasn't secured, and you could see daylight through the top of the hood.
Yes, and
through the top of the flue.
The joints
from the roof.
The joints on the vent stack had no screws, and they're supposed to have three screws at each connection. So a broomstick or the homeowner could come through and accidentally knock that vent pipe, spilling that evening carbon monoxide into the house.
Because
and then,
openable windows into the house were right next to it.
That's right. The bathroom window opened into that enclosed porch area right next to where the water heater was relocated. So many things on that water heater.
And then on that one, the gas meter was right below an openable window to that interior room.
Yes.
That had been built on.
Yeah.
So it's just like the other show I do, the Image Home Improvement Show.
Yes.
A homeowner with tools can be a dangerous thing.
So if you're
Sorry for the plug.
hey, Image Home Improvement Show, Steve Dubell. By the way, where does that radio show?
The Star Worldwide Network.
Star Worldwide Network.
.com, and it's the Image Home Improvement Show.
Excellent. Tell Steve I said hi. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. What other types of issues do you see on water heaters? Back to the TPR valve real quick. Sometimes I think they're supposed to have an extension pipe.
Oh, yeah, they're supposed to have a relief pipe, and it's supposed to vent to an exterior location with less than 4 90s in it, because the 360 of this report is if you close off with 4 or more elbows, you go ahead and you've capped the TPR.
So the TPR valve has to have a 3/4 inch copper pipe, not PVC, copper or metal pipe coming off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those have to get through the wall to get to the exterior, and homeowners will bend those in 90 degrees to get through walls or down around corners.
I've seen a mixture of 45s and 90s. It makes it interesting.
And you
Be
can't,
good
well,
on
90s.
your math.
I'm sorry, 90s. You
90s
can't,
and 45s, yeah, they're all over the place.
and you can't do more than 4 90-degree bends
Right.
in that pipe.
But
Otherwise,
see, the get around on that is if they're willing to invest the money, they can use a stainless steel flex line to get around some of the different areas that make you have to use 90s, and then hook up to the rest of the piping.
that makes sense.
The flexible stainless is very acceptable.
Flexible stainless on the TPR
That's right.
drain. Okay.
And it's at the big box store and at the other hardware stores, it'll show that it's rated for water heater pressure and relief.
And these are 3/4 inch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the connections are 3/4 inch. It's kind of hard to do the other. Well, I've seen reducers on it to 1.5 inches. Yeah. I've seen it. Okay.
You don't want to put a reducer on a TPR extension. No. That is bad news. So in summary, homeowners need to be aware of their gas and electric water heaters giving these signs of trouble: rusting, browning around the firebox on a gas water heater, loose vent stack.
The other thing on electric water heaters,
corrosion,
and also you keep getting less heat from an electric water heater. And I've seen the plates off where people gone and popped that reset button repeatedly, and they keep trying to get the water heater to continue to heat up. When that button on the inside pops, that means there's a problem inside. Don't just reset the button and go on.
This is on electric water heaters.
Yes.
on the elements.
On those 2 plates you see,
You take the 2 plates off,
and there will be a reset button.
Okay.
Don't touch it.
So
it's that big red button. Don't touch it.
If that pops, there's a reason.
There's a reason.
Call
to
a
get
plumber.
it checked out. Yes.
Yeah. 10-4. Excellent. Well, Dan, thank you for coming back for episode 8 of the Arizona Report. We're going to have you back again. You've got so much to talk about, and I still need to talk to you about electrical panels, but thank you for coming in today.
All right,
So,
you bet.
thank you for joining us. My name is David Meek, real estate broker in Arizona with Keller Williams Arizona Realty. This has been episode 8. Don't let your water heater get you into hot water. If you'd like to reach me here in the studio, you can call me at 480-999-MOVE. That's 480-999-MOVE, or find my real estate blog on the interwebs at www.arizonareport.com. Until next time, thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon.